The first night in New York, Lisa and I saw MJ, the Broadway play about the one, the only, the king of pop, Michael Jackson. The play was outstanding. Those of you who know me know how much I love Michael's work. The cast was phenomenal. I mean, a who's who of folks from the Broadway stage. The gentleman that played Michael's father and other roles in the play was a star in Cats. Fabulous. So check it out. It was so good. Lisa surprised me with a ticket for me to go the second night while she went on a theater night with friends. I loved that play. Now, our final night of theater going in New York, we got to see David Byrne's American Utopia. Wow, is all I can say. As much as I loved MJ, if I have to see or could only see one more theater production before I died, this is it. David Byrne, American Utopia. This group he put together is from all over the world. And they all are passionate not only about art, also about making America and the world a better place to be, live, and thrive. This young man is from Chicago. And I'm going to share some of his work a little later on, and Lisa will do the voiceover for us. This is his project. America, learn your history. Fabulous work. Visit that QR code I just showed you. And this right here is David Byrne's personal project, A Fire Engine for the Soul. And I'm going to show you that QR code as well. Guys, ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, men, women, theater lovers or not, this was off the chain. And I've got more stories I'm going to share tonight. I met some people at Costein's Gallery in New York. So tonight's show is dedicated to my buddy. We lost him a few years ago, Robin Leach. When Robin was a young man or a teenager in the UK, he started writing a column called Everyone Has a Story. And I'm going to share some stories about people I met, my little trip to New York. Peace, spread love. Hope you enjoy tonight. Earlier I said this show is dedicated to the memory of Robin Leach and the great work he did all over the world. As I said earlier, Robin was a dear friend to me and to Lisa. And this was one of his books. And in the year coming, 2022, I plan to do a few recipes from this book in honor of Robin, because I want to share him with you all like he shared himself with me and Lisa over the years.
A note from Robin Leach. Back in Harrow, England, where I spent the first 20 years of my life, I would never have imagined the incredible mealtime experiences the future would bring forth. I grew up on a basic English diet, which meant that once a week the food was good, roast beef and Yorkshire pudding, and the rest of the time it was fairly boring. If I had written a fantasy cookbook then, it simply couldn't have reflected the variety of culinary specialties I have had the great satisfaction of consuming since I departed England for the shores of America.
What a beautiful shop, Costein's. And the address, sir?
The address at Manhattan is 153 West 58th Street.
153 West 58th Street.
Located in the luxurious and elegant J.W. Marriott Essex House Hotel.
I love that. That's where I happen to be staying tonight. But I get chicken skins, Barry Colstein. I get a chance to talk with tonight. His father started the store. How long ago, Barry?
Father started the store in 1943.
Wow. In the same location or where?
No, his original location, he actually had two. The main location was on 55th and 6th Avenue in Manhattan, 3 blocks away from this new location of ours. And he also had a bow-making shop in the home, which we grew up in Brooklyn.
Wow. So much is going through my head, and I'm trying to just take a deep breath because my oldest son, I think I shared with you earlier that he's a bass player, and his Mingus was his kind of, I guess, idol. Was that the right word to say, Charles Mingus?
It's a good idol.
He's a great idol, huh?
Charles Mingus was one of the legacies and one of the true gentlemen of jazz.
Jazz. There's so many questions. So if I don't ask one, please share with me. I love to hear your stories about the people that have been in your shops and who your dad you worked with. And when we're going to end up by asking about the one instrument you want to keep, but who out of all the great jazz players that's been in the store, who might we love to sit down?
Oh my God! I mean, my dad and myself, we were blessed with people that ranged from Oscar Pettiford to Jimmy Blanton to George DeViviers to Milt Hinton to Percy Heath. I mean, I can go on and on.
Man.
I own Percy Heath's bass sitting right over there.
We could,
What you see here is Pietro Giacomo Ruggieri, made in Turin, Italy, circa 1700. This instrument belonged to the famed jazz bassist Percy Heath for his entire career. It's just an incredible instrument with great history, great provenance.
Now, you got the love from Dad, and Dad got the love of music, and from where? Where did it come from?
It's kind of a very interesting story. My dad went to Brooklyn Polytech Technical High School, so he had a technical background. He had an engineering degree. From there, he went off and got a full scholarship to Juilliard as a piano major.
Wow, really?
And as a piano major at Juilliard, you had to choose another instrument, and he fortunately chose bass. And who was his teacher was Frederick Zimmerman, who was my teacher also when I was later on in life. And but Fred was assistant principal of the New York Philharmonic, and Fred, my father was a phenomenal musician and progressed wonderfully, with his studies there. But what happened is he went into the military during World War II, went into special services in the music division. And because he was married and my oldest sister was born, he was allowed to live off campus or off right. the fort, the base. And at that point, he was allowed. The musicians were also allowed to take gigs, private gigs, when they weren't working
really?
for the military.
This is in World War II, right?
World War II, yeah.
By the way, and hold that thought, because it's so apropos that you mentioned that. This is December 7th, and Pearl Harbor Day,
yes.
And it's still, I get a little verklempt when I think about what. Oh my goodness, I'm about to choke up here just thinking about the fact that your father served, and I was up near the Guggenheim this afternoon, and it dawned on me that I'm recording on Pearl Harbor Day, and the fact that when we were in school, we always talked about and learned about Pearl Harbor Day, and I hope our country, we don't forget those sacrifices.
Things like that should never be forgotten.
Never should be forgotten.
The people that have served in our military should be touted. They should be praised.
Amen. Yes.
These are our heroes.
These are our heroes.
That's why we have freedom to do what we do in this country.
Can I get a high five on that one?
Absolutely.
So, again, I could spend all day with you and Manny. Now, you got the love from your father, right? And you passed it on. Do you have any kids?
I do. I have two children. I have a boy and a girl. They did not choose to go into this business,
right.
But they are both very successful. And you know what? It's happiness in life.
Amen. Exactly. My two kids, one's a police officer in Northern California. The other's the bass player. I'm a chef. And I always thought that, they'd grow up and just take over the family business, but didn't happen. I don't like to say the word but. It's like, oh, wow, this fabulous store, but, and it kind of changes the connotation. So I try to say however. Whenever I catch myself saying but, I mark that out. One quick question, and I'm going to come back because you got to show us some stuff here. Do you still play at times? You get up?
I did play professionally. As I said, I studied with Frederick Zimmerman until his passing, and then I was fortunate enough to study with Orrin O'Brien, who just retired from the New York Philharmonic after a 55-year run with the organization. Wonderful teacher, and played professionally for a good 10, 15 years, and then decided that this was my place to be.
Passion, right?
Yeah.
So I'd asked you earlier before we came on camera, if there was one instrument that you had to hang on to and wouldn't let go. You said it was which one?
Well, I have to be honest, I don't own it anymore, but I did own Scott LaFaro's bass, which was here. In 2014, I endowed it and donated it to the ISB because it was the right thing to do as far as honoring the LaFaro family and also honoring the International Society of Bassists. But they have been kind enough to allow Manny and I to be the keepers of time.
Now, we just mentioned a gentleman, Manny, right? gorgeous young man, and he's a fellow member of the No Hair on the Top Club. Would you love to introduce this young man to us all?
I certainly would. This is a young man who is probably one of the best things that ever happened in my life.
Right in the middle, man, if you don't mind. Yeah, because I want folks in Marin County to see you. And we've talked about this off camera, the three of us. Mr. Colstein's of Jewish heritage. I'm of African American descent. And Manny, and you're
I'm a Latino.
Latino. Is that correct? Because I always want to be respectful of everyone's heritage.
That's right.
It's sometimes I'm told I should say Latinx, sometimes Latino, and Mexican.
I think Latinx encompasses all aspects of it, but I refer to myself as a Latino.
Yeah. And it's interesting because people ask us like, okay, it's not my job as a black man to school someone, nor is it your job as a Latino or as a Jewish person. I need to do my own learning. However, if, like you said earlier, and I won't put words in your mouth, but it's like we have to be able to talk about these things.
That's right.
So anyway, Mr. Colstein, Barry introduced us to Manny. Now tell us how this collaboration came about, gentlemen.
Well, this young man came to me when, about 15 or 16 years old, maybe even younger.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, it was about 17, probably 18 years ago he came to me with his dad, who's sitting right down there, and his mom, looking for an instrument, his first good instrument.
Yeah.
And he found an instrument he fell in love, which happened to be a Colstein's. When we told him what the price was, his parents said, no, we can't afford that. There was just something special about him.
Manny.
And the fact is, I turned to him and basically said, do you want a job here? And you can pay off the instrument. And he's been with me ever since.
Wow.
And he's grown from sweeping floors, packing rosin, packing products, doing whatever had to be done, up to the point of, before him taking over the company, my right-hand person. He basically helped me run the company for many years and got well entrenched into what it takes to run the shop.
Well, did I hear that right when he took over? So did I hear that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
I was fortunate enough that the opportunity presented itself to me from Manny, that he looked to the shop for his future. He has a family, 3 wonderful children, and basically was looking to see what his future would bring.
Wow.
And he approached me and he said, and also the legacy and the longevity of the shop.
Yeah.
And we worked out a situation that it was the best thing that happened, I think, to both of us.
I love hearing the story. So Manny, now, Barry, I could just see and feel the love Barry has for you and your work ethic coming out. What's your thoughts taking over this, and how long has it been since you've been the man? The Manny, right?
Well, the thing is that, yes, while I'm very thankful for Barry, the truth is he is my mentor. He is someone that I look up to, that I have known all these years as really being a pillar in the musical instrument community, of really being not just an artist in what he makes with his hands, but and how to run a business. So for me, I'm still super thankful to him for all the opportunities that I had, and I don't see it as being the man right now. I still feel that I see him as a father figure in my life, and I still see him and am very honored to have the opportunity to still continue to work with him. And together I feel like we're forging towards the future for the company, and that's really that's really important. But the legal stuff happened a little bit over 2 years ago.
Oh, the legal stuff. I like hearing that. So now here it is. I've asked Barry about instruments and things, and you tell me now. You repair instruments. We
sell
build,
them, sell, repair, rent, appraise string musical instruments, specifically the violin, viola, cello, and bass.
So if I'm on the West Coast, and people watching the show, how can they get to you? On the website?
We have a lot of West Coast clients. We love our West Coast clients. Come out to our shop and check it out in Long Island, make a few days of it, and we have clients that fly in all the time, take a look at an instrument, spend some time with it, make sure that this is the one for them, and we are professionals and in packing and shipping instruments. We even have next day shipping options available via airlines and we really got this down to a science, so that's no problem at all.
We send instruments all over the world.
That's right.
I've seen things in here that just blows me away how beautiful these instruments are. Now, my son, as I said, he plays, and the story when you're telling about buying an instrument, and it is tough. I remember I actually had to go in a little debt to get his instrument, and he's still playing it and makes good sound out of it. How do we get young musicians the equipment and the tools they need? Anything that
I think
as lovers of music can do to help kids?
Right. I think that it's very important to note that this is an investment, right? It's an investment in your child's future for what he's going into his profession for. We see musical instruments as functional art. We see them as tools in your hand.
I love
so
that.
you have to take everything into account. I went into debt when I bought my first violin, and it took me 2 years to pay off. But I'm still own that instrument. I've never bought another instrument since then because I fell in love with that instrument. What's great about instruments is that each one has its own story. Each one has its own intrinsic value based upon the maker who made it, their intention behind it, the sound that comes out of it. An instrument that's 10 years old sounds very different than an instrument that's 100 or 200 years old, and because of that, their price respectively increases. So we take everything into an account when someone is looking for an instrument, and we make sure to match the instrument to the player to make sure that this fits what they're looking for.
It's interesting you say that, like the chef, and I'm thinking like a fine wine, gets better with time. Is that the same way it is with should I say stringed instrument or wood box?
No,
string instrument.
String instrument.
As a maker myself, I mean, the one thing I can't put into an instrument is time and usage. And that comes with basically a player playing an instrument, whether it be a new instrument or an instrument that's been restored, an older instrument. It's basically, by playing it, you're infusing life into that instrument.
Infusing life into it. My goodness. So many wonderful things. This is what I love about the arts. The arts. It's whether it's culinary art or music or painting or whatever it is that life goes in. When I serve food, I want the best of me to go in that food. Like when you musicians play, I mean, it's just, sometimes you just feel it. We saw the Michael Jackson play last night on Broadway, and there was a line in there, and I want to get your feelings on this too. And I've heard this from athletes, I hear this from chefs like myself. The fact is that, like Michael talked, the person playing the part, that I had to feel it. When I felt it, I knew it was right. Is there something like that when making an instrument and or playing an instrument? You get that feel?
Well, you really have to be your worst critic as far as that goes.
Yes.
When I string up an instrument for the first time, I'm basically hoping for the best and looking for the worst.
Ooh.
Because you want that instrument to exceed the capabilities of whoever ends up with it.
Wow.
And be an asset to it. The one thing that the Colstein shop has really built itself on over the last almost 80 years is consistency of quality.
Good phrase.
It really is. It's consistency of quality. It is, because whether you're working on a student level instrument or you're working on a $2 million instrument, you approach that instrument with the same respect. Because the truth of the matter is that student needs more assistance than a fine professional.
Amen. I love it. Barry, Manny, the Colstein gentlemen, I want to thank you for your time. If you don't mind, can we get a quick little tour and I get some shots of some of these wonderful instruments?
Absolutely, we'd love to show you.
Thank you all so for much. Watching. Thank you all. And we end the show with, it's about spreading love. These three gentlemen here, we want to spread love, y'all. So
that's right.
Listen to some good music. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you.
This was fun. This was so much fun, guys. So tonight, as I edit this video and I think about Barry and Manny and the conversation we had about how music changes souls in the world, and I think of Bobby Wooten here. He is the bass player in David Byrne's American Utopia. I'm going to share something about his project, and Lisa's going to do the reading for you. I love New York. There's so much energy there. I mean, for me, about a week is enough. However, I could go every month. All right, I hope you enjoy this.
For the first time ever, I feel a glimmer of hope as it pertains to race relations in America. People are beginning to talk, and there seems to be a curiosity to learn. As I myself really started to learn about systemic issues in recent years, I realized a lot of the history I was taught overlooked, hid, and sometimes even lied about very significant details. That was done as an effort to paint a particular hero's narrative. As a remedy to this, I decided to retell some of the stories, but from the perspective of people who look like me. They will be 2-minute episodes, with the hope that people continue to read more and keep the conversation going. Bobby Wooten.
Bobby Wooten, one of them bad motherfuckers from David Byrne's
American Utopia.
Peace. Lisa did the reading. Love y'all. Spread love. It's always about spreading love. Peace out. Thank you, Bobby Wooten. Thank you, David Byrne. Thank you. That's a badass band he put together. And the show is off the
chain.
It's okay.
3, 2, 1.
This is an Abraham Prescott bass that was an one of the premier American makers from late 1700s, early 1800s, made in Concord, New Hampshire. But what makes this instrument even more special, it belonged to Arvell Shaw, who is Louis Armstrong's bass player.
Oh my
And if you ever watched the movie High Society from 1956, that famous movie, this bass is in the movie
I love it.
with Arvell soloing on it.
Quick question to you or Manny. If someone's coming to town and they needed an instrument, like some world famous player, would you be able to loan them, rent them? How does that work if a famous player comes?
Absolutely. We work with their circumstances, and we try our very best to make sure that we can help them, whether it be a short-term loan, and for them to try it out or use it for a performance, or at the same time to spend some time with it to get to know the instrument better.
Now, you told me about the Kaukazi instrument.
Yeah, the actual real Kaukazi model is we just saw. This is actually a copy that I made in year 2000 for one of the members of the New York Philharmonic who's retired since.
Fantastic.
We can go down the line. This is an Antonio Manzino.
Antonio Manzino.
This is also another Antonio Manzino. You can see the similarities of design. You have an instrument from Naples, Italy, from circa 1850, 1860, from the Galliano shop. This is more a contemporary instrument. This is actually a copy of a John Frederick Lott English bass, but it's contemporary, maybe about 25, 30 years old. And then you have a very famed Lorenzo Kaukazi in the back that was owned by Robert Bernand, who was former principal of the New York Philharmonic.
Oh my goodness, this is beautiful.
And in addition to basses, we also sell violins, violas, and cellos, and we have an extensive collection that we are very proud of for anyone who plays those instruments as well. I pulled this one right now. This is my favorite. This is a Joseph Panormo violin. This was made in 1795. Joseph Panormo, his father was Vincenzo Panormo. He ended up moving a few times to France and then ended up going to London, where he made this instrument. So he's considered Italian instrument, but as also an English instrument. So he has a little bit of both inside of it. But the sound, the quality is just absolutely fantastic.
Would it be too forward of me, Manny, to ask you to play a little?
Sure, absolutely. Only if it's in tune currently.
Okay, gotcha. We are.
Yeah, ready?
Whenever you're ready.
All right. Okay.
Hey friends, it's me, Curtis G. I'm coming to you live from the Big Apple, Manhattan, where Lisa and I just saw the David Byrne show. That shit was off the MFN chain. I saw the MJ show 2 nights in a row, and I was so blown away with that. I was like, I want to go back again tonight. However, now, I've always loved David's work when he was back with the Talking Heads, and his shit is off the chain. So the show he did tonight, I'm going to tell y'all something. If I got to see one show again before I die, David Byrne. I'm telling you. I don't care if you black, you white, you woman, you man, you know, straight, gay, LGBT, whatever the appropriate term we're supposed to use, because I love everybody. I don't care what you be. Like, I'm a black man who's in love with a white woman from the South. I've got 2 children whose mama is white. You know, my best friend is a brother from Michoacan, Mexico. Love you, Miguelito. I mean, shit. We all live, we breathe, we love, we eat, we shit, we do all the same stuff. So all this bullshit about separating, get over that stuff. I ain't no Democrat, I ain't no Republican. I'm a human. I want you to have a good life. I want to have a good life. I want my children to have a good life. I want my grandkids to have a good life. I want your children, your grandkids to have a great life. I want them to have a beautiful world. Check out the David Byrne show. That motherfucker was bad. Like Michael Jackson say, bad. Check the show out. Love y'all. Spread love. That's what it's all about. Because we all bleed red. We all breathe air. We gotta eat. We gotta sleep. We all want love. And we definitely want peace. I'm out.
Yeah, ready?
Whenever you're ready.
All right.
Family reunion. Yo, 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 yo. Everybody. The OJs have a song called Family Reunion. We missing you, Juke. We missing you, Juke. What's Stu at? What's Stu at? Yeah. Stu in the house. All right, we're coming around. Coming around. There's Lisa Cobb with Hannah Banana. There's Lolo. There's Joy. What Cookie? Cookie Mom. Cookie. They call it's a family reunion. Some of y'all Aikens didn't show up. You on Santa Claus's naughty list too.